The last moment of love. Dave met Jane under the rustling amber leaves of an October afternoon. He was a quiet soul, a photographer who found beauty in forgotten things. She was vibrant, the kind of woman who could turn a stranger's bad day into a good one with just a smile. They met at a park bench. He was capturing the fall foliage, she was sketching. Their conversation started over her drawing of a crooked tree. It ended hours later with shared laughter and coffee that turned cold. That autumn turned into winter, and their love bloomed like an early spring. They traveled, danced barefoot in the kitchen, and whispered dreams to each other under blankets. Dave taught Jane how to use a camera. Jane taught Dave how to open up. But not all love stories get to last forever. One evening, as they lay in bed, Jane's hand trembled in his. She had been hiding something, an illness she thought she could ignore. She didn't want to ruin the happiness they had built. But reality could not be postponed forever. The diagnosis was terminal. A rare, aggressive cancer. Dave stayed by her side through it all, doctor visits, hair loss, pain. He captured her even then, not through a lens but in his mind, how her eyes still held light even as her body dimmed. Her last wish wasn't grand. She wanted one more autumn with him. So he took her to that same park bench, wrapped in blankets, her frail hand in his as leaves danced around them. Jane passed away that night, peacefully in his arms. Every year after, Dave returned to the park, camera in hand, sitting on their bench during the first week of October. He never took a single photo. He just watched the leaves fall. The Last Autumn, Part 2. In the weeks after Jane's passing, Dave found himself drifting through life like the leaves she had once loved to sketch. The apartment was quieter than he could bear. Her laughter used to echo in the hallways. Now it was replaced by silence that seemed to mock him. He packed away her sketchbooks in a box labeled Jane. But he couldn't bring himself to seal it. Her last drawing, a sketch of the two of them under their crooked tree, sat unfinished. Pencil lines stopped at the edge of her weakening strength. He left it on the coffee table, untouched, as if hoping she might come back to finish it. Photography, once his escape, now felt hollow. Every click reminded him of a moment she would never see. Yet somehow the camera called to him, not to capture beauty but to remember pain. He began photographing empty places. The coffee shop where they met, the steps where they had their first kiss, the hospital chair where he slept beside her. One photo, however, he never took. The bench became sacred to him, a space frozen in time. 1 year later, the first anniversary of her death arrived on a cool, golden October morning. Dave returned to the park, holding a thermos of her favorite chai. He sat on the bench and poured a cup, placing it beside him as if she were still there. A little girl skipped past, tugging her mother's hand, and pointed to him. "Why is that man crying?" she whispered. Her mother knelt and replied softly, "Because he remembers someone who made him very happy." That night, back in the apartment, Dave opened the box labeled Jane. For the first time, he lifted out the sketchbook and finished her final drawing, not with a pencil but with a photo. He slipped a picture of their park bench, surrounded by falling leaves, into the empty space beside her lines. It wasn't perfect, but it was whole. Years later, Dave never remarried. Love like that doesn't ask to be replaced. But he lived. He traveled with her memory in his back pocket, leaving a sketchbook in every city he visited, blank pages meant for her. On the final page of every one, he wrote the same thing. "For Jane, the best frame I ever knew." When Dave passed away, many years later, the bench was dedicated in both their names. And every fall, even decades later, strangers still find flowers placed there. Always wrapped in paper. Always with a note that reads, "In case you've forgotten, love is real."